see what happens. We should be getting to that now. It started on my side.
Well, I won't be able to see it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so I think we are
live.
live. Yes, we are live. So, okay, so this afternoon for our session, we've got Roger Sedres on the stream. Roger's going to give us a fantastic insight on sports photography and the stories behind the images that you may not necessarily know, which are really cool. And the title of his talk is The Significance and Power of an Image. And so, yeah, hopefully it inspires. Remember to ask questions. Roger, over to you.
Thank you, Quentin. Thank you to everybody on Facebook Live and around the world. It's a real privilege, and thank you for having me. I have decided today's talk is I've shared this on the Canon Roadshow, but the significance and power of an image, and especially in the current situation that we are in right now in South Africa and around the world, is we are in the middle of an event. So allow me to share with you a little bit of background. Images shape international events and our understandings of them. Images surround everything we do and can play a critical role in society. People connect with images instantly and emotionally. Chosen correctly, they put faces to causes, events, and moments in ways that words cannot. It is not surprising then that a visual narrative is becoming just as important as a written one. Images influence how we view and approach phenomena as diverse as humanitarian disasters, election campaigns, and sporting events moments. The growth and popularity of Instagram is a case in point. Analysts are predicting Instagram will account for 1/3 of all social media users by 2021. As a society, we have become increasingly captivated by the appeal and impact of moments captured on camera. At the heart of it is that we are very visual creatures. A large percentage of the human brain dedicates itself to visual processing. Our love of images lies with the cognition and ability to pay attention. Images are able to grab our attention easily. We are immediately drawn to them. Sports photography enables the photographer to use powerful, striking, poignant images to impact people's lives. The moments captured in a split second can change lives, inspire, encourage, motivate, heal, and make a difference. It can become iconic images. And I've been doing this. I've been a professional for the last 30 years. I've had the privilege of working at one of the best major newspapers in the world, Die Burger newspaper. I was the chief photographer back then before I left in 2005 to pursue my own business. So photography is still, it's been my life for as long as I can remember, since I was in standard 7 or grade 9, where a teacher said to me one day, "You're going to be a photographer." And that only happened way later. So my title today is, I'm showing you, with those that can see, is a picture of Christian Taylor, the world triple jump champion. This was taken in Beijing 2015 at the World Championships. So all sporting events has been cancelled. We as photographers, photojournalists, press photographers, that's the only thing we can do right now. The coronavirus has basically cancelled the entire sporting calendar. It's gone. We have to just focus on 2021 and maybe a little bit towards the end of 2020. Who knows? So what we have here is a Christian Taylor doing the triple jump at the World Championships, shot with a fisheye lens in the bird's nest. And then we go to, we live in a visual age. We go to talk about the Springbok Sevens under Neil Powell, and these bunch of players have got a unique sort of unwritten code. Is that prayer is very part of their lives. This was after they completed in Rio 2016 and they went down to pray. And then you've got an iconic image for me, because that is a South African wrestler. His name is Kleinian Kombrink. Well, was Kleinian Kombrink. He died in a car crash. He was 23 years old, and he died in a car crash a week after returning to South Africa after the 2018 Commonwealth Games. So this is the last action picture of our beloved South African representative in wrestling. Why do we love images so much? We are visual creatures, and we are drawn. And years ago, attending a Point Institute seminar, lecture, course, they determined that looking at a newspaper, people look at a picture 0.19 of a second. And if it strikes them, they look at it longer. Otherwise, the average is 0.19 of a second. So your pictures have got to be really, really good and iconic and well thought of. That's Altonia Alkana, our African champion, South African champion in the men's 110-meter hurdles, also in Beijing.
Sorry, Roger, just back on that one. So obviously a lot goes into, and I know you're going to talk about it later, a lot of thought needs to go into where you position yourself
correct.
Before an event.
Yes. So this is not all the stadiums are really geared for or on nice to shoot in. This is in the Bird's Nest in the Olympic Stadium. We are you have to get access. You've got photo positions. So this is like in a dugout. So when standing up, you basically at ground level shooting up. That's how you can get a picture like that, because there's like a pit, a sort of dugout below below ground level. You need access. Not all photographers. I always ask. It's easier to do it in heat than in the final, where you can do a picture like this. You need permission. 24 hours prior to an event, you got to apply to get into a certain position or to be on the infield, and you've got to say which athlete. So you got to know which athlete you're going to use. You would want to photograph somebody like Sunette Viljoen, our female javelin thrower, who would have been her fifth Olympics next year. God willing, she will still be able to throw. She will be the longest serving Olympian in South African history. 5 Olympic Games. She usually throws the qualifying throw with the first throw. So you need to know that I need Sunette's picture of the first throw, because she always qualifies for the final with the first throw. That's just how you got to know your athletes. Or you're getting Sir Mo Farah. No matter what, you always need to focus on what works. And sometimes the athlete helps with the expressions, with the euphoria of winning a race and what it means to them. And you got to be ready and know, you got to know your shutter speed. You got to know your aperture. All my pictures are shot in manual. I don't trust AV or TV. Or nobody shoots programmer. Please, those that don't, you just got to learn how to shoot manual.
I thought it was P for professional.
Nah, I don't think Roger Mason would come up with that definition. Hey, Roger, if you are listening.
Just a quick one. I've got a question here from Anton Bester. What's your favorite gear?
In terms of, it depends on the sport.
I suppose lenses and that sort of thing.
Sometimes people think that the more gear you got, the better pictures, the better pictures you're going to get. Sometimes too much gear clutters your mind and you forget where you are. My gear is 3 cameras, a 400 2.8, 70 to 200 sometimes, and then on this one body, sometimes a fisheye, depends what you want to shoot, or a 2870, 24-105, sorry. Those are my go-to, and sometimes 1635, but those are my go-to gear. Too much, Some people like the 200 to 400 F4. I don't. I like my 400 2.8 because what you see is what you get. I like to control the depth of field. Just making my life a little bit easier sometimes doesn't help me in my thought process. So I'd like to plan, and I plan a whole day ahead of what I'm going to shoot and how I'm going to shoot it, because I have photo positions, and you use the photo positions to your best of your ability. Not getting somebody crossing the finish line is not always your best picture. Sometimes at the water jump or something like that, it's a better picture than somebody just winning a race. Because what I find now is that most of our amateur runners, even some of our professional runners at electronic time events, they run across the line, stopping their own watch, and that is one of the worst things that you can do for an iconic picture. It will never be an iconic picture. There's electronic timing. You will get your time, but there's nothing up. There's no euphoria about winning, especially the from 3,000 upwards. And that's really, it becomes a problem for us as photographers, because you're never going to get an iconic image.
Absolutely.
Any more questions quickly on that one?
Yeah, we've got Roger says, yes, P is for professional. And then there's one other one here from John. What is the most difficult conditions you've had to shoot under for athletics?
I'll get to it in my presentation. John,
Fantastic.
I'll get to it in I'll explain. There's two. There's one that is coming up from Rio, and then just from Doha 2019, the humidity inside the stadium, it's air-conned, so your temperature is about 23, 24 degrees. They've got air-conditioned blowers blowing from all sides, so you're in ideal conditions. But then the race walking, the marathon, it was on the outs in another part called the Corniche in Doha, and the humidity was, folks, I can't explain to you, but your camera starts sweating, you start sweating, it's misted up, and it's got to acclimatize. It goes from ideal conditions, so you got to get there early. Take up towel, wet wipes, water, drink lots of water. So that's, I would say, one of the horrendous conditions, because it's not just about you, it's about your gear, and you've got to know how to treat your gear. Weather seals, it all helps, but you got to have a towel, got to have a chamois. I've got pieces of chamois cloth that I buy at the hardware store that I wrap my equipment in. It keeps it safe, keeps it clean, prevents a lot of dust getting into the grooves, and also good for cleaning lens, whether it's moisture or dust. So I hope that answers. I'll get to John now a little bit later.
Cool.
So I just wanted to go.
On.
Okay, and then these are some of my stories. So I'm going to start at London Olympics 20. So this is from the opening ceremony. Now, not every photographer that is accredited for the Olympic Games gets to go to this opening ceremony or the finals of swimming. It is a what they call a high demand. It's a ticketed event. So I got to. It was my first Olympics, and you can't just sit anywhere. There are photo positions all around the stadium, and this was my image from my photo position from inside the Olympic Stadium. So, and you got to be there 3 hours before the start. So you got to be seated. If you want to go to the bathroom, don't just go to the bathroom before you sit, because once you're in, you're in. You can't get out. Take lots of snacks with you. And there is this was shot with a 600 with a 2x converter. There's Sunette Viljoen on the left. I'm going to use my laser pen. That's Sunette Viljoen. Yes, a young Caster Semenya. And I'm trying to say it's Philly de Beer. Some of the guys are there. But sorry, some of the athletics. I know more of the athletics people. 2012, and then the lighting of the cauldron. inside the stadium. Those that I know, that's Roger Federer. And Roger Federer always loves, you must always try and get the athlete with the logo. That's one of the, otherwise it's just another picture. And if you've watched Roger's body language all the time, you'll find he loves touching his hair, and those are the type of things that you try and capture. Or focus, and Michael Phelps, prior to one of the heats, no, I lie, this was the semi-finals in London. Focus, focus, focus. And when they focus, you focus. You are there to capture history. It's a privilege. Accreditation takes about 1.5 to 2 years for an Olympic Games. You are not there by chance. You're there by privilege. And to capture these athletes in their prime, it's still a privilege. And then I get to one of my favorite stories. I happen to be, because the swimming finals and the semi-finals are held at the evening session of swimming at the Olympic Games. And it is a ticketed event. You need to be there early. And then I was offered by Sascock, look, I'm not going to mention anybody's name in this presentation, but see, you want to go to swimming? I said, yes, please. So I ended up going to the semi-finals on the 30th of July, 2012, using a 600 lens and a 1.7, no, I like 1.4 and a 1. 2 times. And I found that it didn't work, because now let me explain. Let me use my laser pen again.
You're so glad that you found that laser pointer now, hey?
It's my favorite tool. So imagine what you see is the pool. So in a little enclosure on this side, about this big, but just on the other side of the frame, right? You sit about maybe 150 photographers. This was photo A. This was in London 2012, photo A. So the photo position was photo A. And you sit cramped, and I found that lane 5, 6, and 7 were the lanes for the famous guys. And when shooting with a 600 or with the shooting across from this position that way, you got all the splash and everything. So you never really got a good picture. And so the next day, so Chad made the final the next evening. So the next day, I'm gonna leave the laser pen. I said to him, ek wil asseblief weer swem toe gaan. Nee, jy het klaar jou kans gekry, because remember, I never knew how these things work. I'm a rookie. I don't know all the rules and all of this. I said, no, you had your kans gekry. You got your chance. And so the next morning, it's storming in London. 31st of July, 2012, it's storming in London. And I'm sitting at my computer in the media center. And I'm sitting like this, and I don't know how I've got it. And a man called Neil Turner, he was the deputy photo chief. And we started talking, because I'm from South Africa. And he says, Rog, mate, why is it down? I said, man, I need a ticket for tonight's swimming final. And I don't have a ticket. So he said to me, go to the IOC office and go and ask them for a ticket, which I did. And there on the 3rd floor, I'll never forget, on the 3rd floor in this long corridor, and there's I assume she was a Russian, but a small Russian lady. And she said, I said, ma'am, I was sent here for a ticket. And she said, you wait. Yeah, for you, chair. And she gave me a fold-up chair, and she said, you sit. 5:30, I give out tickets, 5:30. And I sat there for 3 hours, went to fetch my laptop, went to carry on editing, now hoping, because I don't know. So what it is all those tickets that the other Olympic federations don't collect, they hand out to the journalists on a first come first serve basis. If it's up, it's up. And I was number 4 at 2:30 in the afternoon in the row. So there's a row for journalists and a row for photographers. And 5:30 she came out, and she came out with, I can illustrate. She came out with 2 hands full, and she says, "Photo A, photo B." So I said, "Photo B." So I said, "Thank you, photo B." So photo B, where's my laser pointer now? Okay. So photo B was about a small part of, I can't get there, a small part of, on that corner, just on the other side of that. And behind me was Prince William and Kate. I'll just get rid of this. Kate Middleton, and that's how I got these pictures, from sitting and waiting and being patient and praying. Interesting, I think that's the one. So folks, that picture is, the story behind this picture is in the Burger's 100-year book. And on page 242, it's in Afrikaans, but it's the story behind how I got to that picture, which is still the most used picture. Then I get to Custer. And some more of, just a little bit. I'm just fast forwarding, sorry. Pardon, just give me a second. I'm joking.
That's thirsty work, this presenting, hey?
It's good, man, because you're sitting. Usually when with Roger Mason, you're moving around, you know, and it gives you water. But anyway, he's very quiet. So fast forward to Beijing. So here we got a young man that burst onto the scene and he stormed to the winning. But now, if you know, Wade is very nice chap. He doesn't go but he gave his all. And sitting also in the same dugout, if you can see, it's also at ground level. And I've got the flag with me. And I'll come to a story why I keep the flag, a South African flag from Athletics South Africa. And then he gave everything. And he just never got up. And he was carried off out of the stadium. So we never got Wade winning with a gold medal on the South African flag, which was, we had to wait a year later for that. Let's fast forward to Rio. This is the opening ceremony in Rio de Janeiro. I don't know, let me say it, but it was wonderful. But long bus rides. I mean, the bus, this event, the opening ceremony finished about midnight. The first bus back to the media center was at 2:30 in the morning, waiting outside with people and the residents selling us water because it was so hot and nothing to eat. Got back to the media center at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and then my laptop crashed, but I managed to fix it. A little bit of the openings, a solemn moment when the Olympic flag is raised. And then, you know, its competition is on. That is Sarah Shostrom from Sweden. Always try and get her with a sort of the rings and the wings. Or Cameron van der Berg, who's just retired, and wish him well with the recovery of the coronavirus over in London. And one of the best things is to speak Afrikaans. Because you call them and you say, Cameron, ek is hier. Kyk vir my, ek is hier. And that's how you get our athletes to look at you. Chad, same thing. Or Mr. Phelps. Again, that lost his gold. Or rugby, Philip Sneyman, one of the Spanish guys. Sonny Bill Williams, at this tackle, he injured his knee, and he really got hurt. Or Juan de Jong, Siabela Senatla. You see, this was Fiji's first medal, not just the gold. It happened to be gold. It was their first medal. And funny enough that the Team GB received their medals, but the Fijians, each and every one, went on their knees to receive their medal. And that was actually a tear-jerking moment, being their nation's first medal ever. This is Akarina Horn, currently serving as a suspended, not a suspended sentence, I'm trying to think, a dope, for allegedly doping. Luva Manyonga, a long jump sensation, and I shot this with a remote camera. Also, this was handheld, and that's the image for the remote camera. Or a little bit more of Stephen Mokoka, a marathon runner, long distance, phenomenal athlete. And a sprint sensation, Akani Simbini, in the final of the men's 100 meters.
Roger?
Now, yes, sir.
I got a question here from... No, not at all. I got a question from Melanie. How do you decide what games you focus on, seeing as she was credited for the sevens, and you have one after the other, and sort of plan the difference in storytelling, images, etc. So how do you choose, which events? You obviously decide up front, eh?
You got to plan a whole day ahead. Are you talking about the Olympic sevens? Does she say?
I'm going to say yes, because she doesn't say. She says she's received her first SA7s accreditation last year. It was fast-paced, 3 days of hard work. I took my hat off to you guys that do this full time. Took away one creative and storytelling image. How do you decide on what games you'll focus on? Basically, is the question.
Games, I'm sure she's referring to matches. I'm assuming as matches.
She's just said now it was a sevens rugby. No.
That's HSBC. That's the HSBC 7 series. If I think Melanie, please reply. I'd love to answer you on that one. If it's the HSBC 7 series or I'm on the Olympic side.
Well, let us know about the Olympics. How would you go about choosing what you want to focus on?
You focus on medal possibilities. You got to focus on medal possibilities. Otherwise, you're just shooting for record. We're at team, because you can't be everywhere. In Rio de Janeiro, at least an hour bus ride from the media center to a venue, like to the rowing. It was an hour and a half standing up in a full bus. So we had 4 medal possibilities in the rowing. We had 4 finals in a row. None of them finished in the medals, but you can't ignore it. I missed the Ethiopian Almaz Ayana that morning, running a new world record in the 10,000 meters. But because it's Team South Africa, your priority is Team South Africa, not just being there and shooting. Yes, there are other photographers that get accreditation and they shoot, they're good, but they only shoot, what's the word? I can't say it's for fun, but they only shoot like stock and panning images and fancy. We are there, I'm there, talking about myself, I'm there to shoot for record. This is history. I'm there to shoot history, the history of the athlete, the history of the country. I can't be shooting all fancy stuff and hoping that it works out. Hence, my story with Wade, 400-meter world record. So how did I get that picture? So at the 100-meter final was the next race. And we were on the other side at the long jump, and I looked at this, and there's about, I was told, 750 accredited photographers inside the Olympic Stadium, planning and executing to photograph the men's 100-meter final. That's the most photographed race at the Olympic Games. That's how big it is, and it's over in under 10 seconds. To give you an example, Sports Illustrated, 10 photographers shooting the men's 100-meter final. Each one is signed a specific, no matter who you are, how famous you are, if you're working for a magazine or publication, they assign a photographer to a certain spot. That's your job. You got to get the picture. And here I am on the other side, and I looked at this, and all these people, there's no ways I'm going to get Wade starting in lane 8. And getting to the finish line, getting a spot in the finish line, the head-on platform is full. Every place is full. Pardon. And I ended up looking at a spot close to the finish line, but close to the inside. And I calculated from the previous race that the TV camera on the track and the finish line, it's about 2 to 3 seconds before that camera comes past and you miss the shot. And so you pray and you check your settings, and you know this is it. If Wade wins, regardless if he wins or what, my focus is on Wade van Niekerk. If Wade van Niekerk makes it, I've got the picture. And this is my series of pictures from that one. Well, there's a whole series, but I'm just showing a few to the folks. Post the race, you can see the remote cameras. It's not just the race, it's after the race. You've got to try and get him with post. And then if you see the flag, now sometimes I not all the time, but sometimes I take it upon myself to give the flag, because I'm always close enough to the athlete. Because in the euphoria, and if you go and watch some pictures of athletes holding up flags, you're going to find that the flag is held up incorrectly. And this is the correct way. The red on top, the black to your right, and the blue at the bottom. Go through some of the other athletes, and you're going to find it's incorrect. This is the only way the flag is supposed to be held. And if they'd hold it up incorrectly, I shouted them in Afrikaans, and then they held it up. And they listen.
Roger, how many times have you lost flags that you haven't got back?
No. It belongs to Athletics South Africa, so it gets back, and sometimes it gets back sweaty. Depends on how many. But where was it? I said, I hope. I said to Peter Lawrence, who's the ASA track and field chairman, I said, I hope you got 3 flags, because we're gonna get to the stage where we're gonna win, especially in the long jump, men's 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna win at 3 flags, and we're only gonna have 2. We need to acquire some more flags for our athletes.
Fantastic.
You know, and this became the 100-meter final. Became just another race of Bolt winning the 100 meters. And John, this is the kind of pictures that these athletes have sometimes got to contend with. Well, not just the athletes, the technical officials. Shot. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna leave it up. I'm almost done. Moving on. Those that remember, that Rocco from Survivor. He's actually a professional javelin thrower. And there's our Sunette Viljoen. And Nell Wistad, I think she's watching. I photographed her when she was still a junior athlete. Following a career, became an Olympian. That's Almaz Ayana, who I mentioned earlier. And then, of course, you've got some Caster Semenya, our greatest female middle distance athlete. I'm sure she's going to either do a heptathlon or the 200. Either way, she's phenomenal. And those are the 3 athletes that have been, that's Francine Neon Saba on the left, Gasta and Margaret Wambui on the right. from Kenya. And then moving on a little bit to just some images. Here's another, folks. If the flag is hanging vertical, the red is always on the left. Always remember that if the flag is hanging vertical. I see a lot of it at stadiums. That's Shera Shostrom from, this was in Budapest. I'm just gonna go run through this so we can have some nice Q&A. Rashwal Samai in London. This is at the 2017 World Champs. I'm just going to move a little bit.
Roger, if you want to slow down and tell any stories, that's absolutely fine. Hey, we've got time. Don't stress.
No. I want to leave some time for some folks because I know they want to ask some questions. Otherwise it's too much information overload. A lot of it is planning, guys. That's all I can say. You can just rock up. Manyonga, Luvo, Rashwal Samai, and these two, if you noticed, great, phenomenal long jumpers in the world. Akani Sambini, great champion. A little bit of Botswana. I just want to run through some of these things before we. Sorry that I'm not talking. I'm just. This Michael Hooley is in the US now. Tatiana Schoenmaker. Share the Dream. This is swimming. This is in the Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast in 2018. And this is World Relays, the World Relay Champs in 2019 in Tokyo, Japan. The same stadium the Springboks won. So you're not just looking, you're looking for some things that shows where you are, some powerful images. It's not just people running. You've got to keep focus. You're there to capture history. Ran an African record of Simon Mahakwe and Akani, and missing out, finishing 4th in the World Champs. So it's not just about the person. You're trying to look for the environment. And I think, and something what I collect shoes for our poor athletes or less fortunate athletes that can't afford. This is doing cross country right here. So I try and collect shoes and give it to some of the poor athletes. And Costa, encourage, inspire, and motivate. That's what I try to do. And that's my contact details. If anybody wants to give me a shout out once I have, if you want any information, I'm free. I don't keep information to myself. I try and help everybody in the community. That's
very
me.
cool, Roger. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I know the times that I've seen you present on Canon Roadshow, the images are always so impressive, and you certainly didn't disappoint over here. That's for sure. So you mentioned just, I suppose, from a promotional point of view, you mentioned that you've got you're opening up your image library. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Look, folks, this is uncertain times. It's there's no work, or everything is cancelled. All major events, all minor events, all sporting events, it's cancelled. We're on lockdown here in South Africa. It's possibly going to get extended. I think it's just going to be 3 weeks. It's possibly going to be extended. So I've opened up my library, and those that would like a picture can welcome to go in and purchase for personal use, not for publication, just for personal use. And I'm just asking $7, which is about 120 Rand for a picture of one of my iconic pictures. It's just to
That's nothing. It's nothing.
No, it's nothing. Just to keep going and just support my family. I have to do what I have to do.
Absolutely, and I think you know, as you say, it's one of the reasons why I put this together, is to try and offer advice and inspiration and just motivation for you know, all of us photographers, that where the work is pretty much dried up until you know, until it starts up again. So yeah, I mean, I would certainly say there's some fantastic images out there. You know, for $7, it's nothing. Go and support. And support Roger. I think it's fantastic images there. There was another question which completely slipped my mind, but just one thing from Craig Dutton. He said he's always said that his ultimate brief would be to go and shoot Olympics with no brief, just shoot the best image you can. So, which I suppose is pretty cool. You mentioned it earlier on, where you've got a specific you know, role that you want to do. It's a historic shot, whereas you know, I suppose there are photographers that are there that are supposed to get the panning shot and the zooming shot and that sort of thing. I mean, do you want to talk about that maybe for a little bit?
I'm alone. I can't afford to go to diving and shooting a Brazilian doing diving. I'm there. You're accredited through Team South Africa. You're there to cover Team South Africa. It's your country. If you want to go on another ticket, I mean, it's by all means. I can't stop anybody, but you still got to get accreditation through your national federation or your Olympic, which national federation for me is Athletics South Africa, or Olympic Committee, which is SASCOC. It doesn't prevent you from shooting other athletes. I mean, I've shot other athletes, but when it comes to planning, you got to plan what I'm going to do tomorrow and how am I going to get there, even with media transport, how far it is, how much time have I got. You need time to go through security, standing queues, go through security, unpack your stuff. You never know. Some people are just, some security officials are just in a bad mood. And they say, pack out everything. And you just got to pack out everything. And then pack it back again. Take off your belt, sometimes take off your shoes. It takes time. So inevitably, you're going to shoot a maximum of 3 events per day. And what are those 3 events? Because you got to factor in travel. You got to factor in, where am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? When am I going to file? How am I going to file? For example, if my laptop crashed during the opening ceremony, I had a plan B, and that is to shoot wirelessly and send the pictures directly through FTP right through onto a picture desk. Fortunately, we were 5 hours behind South Africa. When you're in Japan, you're going to be 8 hours ahead of South Africa. So when South Africa is awake, you've got to be sleeping, and you get to sleep maybe 4 or 5 hours max a day. So your health, you've got to make sure that you eat enough. You've got to be healthy, because getting sick, like I did in Rio, I ended up in the medical center on a drip after picking up diarrhea. It's not easy, because you got to work. You're there. You're not there for a holiday. People think, you get to see the world. No, you are focused. You are there to shoot Team South Africa, our athletes, for history. This is not my take. This is how I see it. For historical purposes, because you got one chance to do it. This is not say, please, can I shoot you in a different position? You got one chance. You can't mess it up.
Absolutely, yeah. Wade, can you just go back? I didn't get that shot. It's not going to work.
Exactly. Underexposed. No.
Absolutely. So I suppose, just related to that underexposed comment there, I assume you're shooting JPEG so that you can file straight away?
Yeah. No, you can't shoot RAW. You can maybe shoot RAW on a different card, but to shoot JPEGs is, I mean, the JPEG quality of these cameras are phenomenal. Hint, waiting for Roger Mason to send the Mark III. Hint. So, but just to see how fast these I know with the 1DX, it takes depends on the speed, but a good speed, maybe 26, 28 seconds to send the picture from the camera to the desktop anywhere in the world. With the new WFTs, it might be even faster. Those are essentials. But that I must add, pocket wizards, if you want to shoot with remote cameras, the only thing you can use is pocket wizards. The Chinese make the Yongnaos and that are banned because you need to have your spectrum licenses have got to be or your devices have got to be inspected, and you get a sticker on. And if you don't have a sticker, you're not allowed to. These people are very strict because they got like tech police walking around. So like a a little MiFi thing it's banned. It's only wired internet. So you got to get around it. And those are your planning. Pardon. Tokyo would be the first Olympics where you don't have to pay for internet. Otherwise, you have to pay for internet. We have to pay.
Sure, that's crazy.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. Yeah.
And one more question. So you mentioned being accredited. What do you do? How do you get accreditation?
You got to apply to SASCOC. When it opens up, it's a long process. Like I don't always understand it, but it starts up with expression of interest. Do you want to go to the Olympic Games? Would you like to? And then you can't just say, everybody puts up their hand and say, I'm going to go. You need letters of motivation. You need to have what's your experience? There's 2 types of photographers. You get EP, which is your general photographer, and then you get EPS. And when I say general, I don't mean general, but it's like you can go to any venue, and then you get EPS with a EP with capital letters and an S with a small. That's for sports specific. So if you're accredited for athletics, you can only do athletics. You can't go and do swimming. You can't do anything else. So you get scanned. Your accreditation is scanned, and then the system will tell you where you can go and where you can't go.
Okay.
But no. But you got to plan. You can only do about 3 events a day because you got to factor in your file time, your captioning, your editing, making sure your names are spelled correctly. Even if you do code replacements, make sure that if sometimes most people do a spell check. A spell check sometimes messes up spelling. You got to make sure that the people's names are spelled correctly.
Yeah.
In your file info. Yeah.
So I've got some info from Justin Fuchs from Canon.
Yeah.
Regarding the new WFT transmitter. Anesh tested the latest one from camera to FTP server in USA back to second phone, 18 seconds.
Wonderful. So Justin, so when you're sending one.
Okay, so at the moment from Canon, you need one of those, and you need a DX3 from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the new cards from Roger mentioned. So let's see what comes out. I think he's all in lockdown at the moment.
Absolutely is. So someone who's got a drone that can go from us here in Joburg to you in Cape Town, that can take a DX, the WFT transmitter, and some cards. That's really what you're looking for, right?
Yes, because there's no aeroplanes flying. They'll be the only one in the sky.
For sure. I just want to see what other questions we've got here. From Riette, do you shoot RAW or JPEG? Obviously, we've just answered that with shooting RAW because you just don't have time for, shooting JPEG because you just don't have time for RAW.
No, but can I just add on that one quickly?
Yes. Yes.
I shoot on JPEG the maximum quality. I don't shoot 8, I shoot 10. I need the larger JPEG file.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Chris van Sale asks, obviously you've worked with Oom Wessel.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so I don't have any other questions at the moment on the comments here. So I don't know if you happy to wrap up and that sort of thing.
No, I'm fine. If what's the time? Oh, we've gone over. Almost. 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes.
Still good.
Maybe one or two questions. I'm sure there's a few that maybe one or two questions before we wrap.
So while we're waiting for those questions, I've got another one. So talk to me about the process that you're experiencing at the moment, shooting the COVID-19 side of things. I know we mentioned earlier on this preso was delayed because of you getting back through roadblocks and that sort of thing. Maybe just give us a couple of minutes of that. I think that'd be very interesting.
Okay, it's prior to the lockdown, you needed to firstly you need a press card, a valid press card, and then you have to have your ID and a permit, and an extra C permit, where your employer or assignments editor's got to fill this out, and you've got to have it stamped with your company stamp and all sorts of documentation. So that allows you to be out on the road and to be out of your house. Otherwise, all on lockdown, unless folks are going to the shop. Social distancing is actually a huge problem in South Africa right now. I saw today, at SASSA pay points, and at those pictures I'm still need to edit when we're done here. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. But the police are clamping down. They're getting quite serious because people are not obeying the regulations. It's for their own good. It's not for just for being fun. This is about livelihood. It's not just about, you get sick, you're not just going to recover in 3 days. This is like, let's prevent. So I get into my friend Gary Mitchell from Wales. He had a good chuckle last night, and he said, I posted that, when I get into the garage, take off my clothes and I go, they dump it in the washing machine, and then I go and shower. Make sure, wash hands while you're busy. Make sure you have hand sanitizer in the car. Sterilize us, use a lappy to wipe down your cameras every time you go out. So I'm quite conscious. Wear a face mask. It might not be necessary, but I do. And also I wear a reflector jacket, so you're identifiable, especially at night and in the evenings. It's a privilege to be out there. It's not just a right because you're a member of the media, but I've covered a few disasters and catastrophes in my lifetime. And you just got to plan. It's not about running out and going to do pictures. You got to plan. You got to be nice with the people, because it's they can decide, thank you, your permit is not valid. Tear it up and there off you go. Stay at home. So it's going to come to that, and I hope it doesn't get to curfew time. But it looks like the way it's going on, we're heading to curfew.
I tend to agree with you on that, and hopefully we don't get there. I just got before we run out of time, I just want another one from Craig Dutton. What is your workflow from shoot to delivery? What software do you use? Where do you host your images? And how do you deliver the images to your clients?
Everything I use Photoshelter. Well, I've got a few clients. I host it on photoshelter.com. I edit it in Photoshop Camera Raw. It gets saved and gets uploaded. Quality 10 and gets uploaded. It's very quick. But you must make sure that if you're using code replacements, your names are correct. Your caption is full. It's not just adding a name. Your captions have got to be really, really detailed. Because when the IPTC, it's very important, that one, Quentin. Takes you about, depends how many images, maybe 30 minutes, 45. So you got to move all the time. Make sure that I need a new battery for my Mac. So I can only maybe do 2 quick edits, maybe longish edits. It only lasts about an hour. So make sure that you shoot and your edit is concise. Don't just shoot, lots of pictures of the same thing. But try and capture history. Try and capture, especially like today, SASSA payments. It's important to capture elderly folk, getting assisted by the police or by security personnel to the pay points and out of the long queues, because our poor folks are standing in long queues trying to get their SASSA money.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's the social distancing side of things. It almost takes a back seat because you know, these are people that that are now getting some money for the first time in a while. They haven't been able to shop
Correct.
for first time in a while. So,
Correct.
you know, I'm not really going to worry about 2 meters of distance. I'm worried about getting my money, and then I need to go and shop. So it makes it really hard. So I just want to, before we get cut off, you know, because there's a hard cut just before the hour. I wanted to firstly say thank you very much for joining us today. You're showing your prezo. It was fantastic. I love the images and the excitement and all of that, and the passion that you have for it. And I hope that that's inspired someone to go out to a local rugby match and take some pictures or whatever. I think it's fantastic. Also, I'd like to say that if anyone is wanting to you know, ask questions, etc., please put them on the comments. I'm sure Roger will have a look and answer them as and when. And again, support Roger. If you want some iconic sports images, $7 an image for your personal use, it's a steal. So if you can, support him. I know he'll appreciate it. So thanks very much, Roger.
Thank you, Quentin. And thank you for everybody for listening.
Absolutely.
To my humble story.
No, it's fantastic. Love it. Love it. Yeah, and maybe we'll get you back towards the end of the lockdown if I'm still looking for people. Thanks a lot.
We can even do a lockdown preso. It'd be nice to do a lockdown and see what has transpired in the last, you know, in 3 weeks' time.
Absolutely. That's cool. I think let's do that. I'll schedule that with you. I think that's a big.
And also let some of the other folks also share what they're doing during lockdown. You know, especially, you know, Roger's shooting birds. I don't know how many birds he's shooting, and Justin in Durban, whatever they're doing. Yeah, let's folks just, you know, just keep us busy and just keep us interactive. And it's trying for all of us. It's only day 4. We still got a few days to go, man. We all here. We're online, just a WhatsApp or SMS away. For
sure. Yeah, I've certainly, my schedule's cleared up. I got lots of time. I don't know what people are talking about being so busy. All right, Roger. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. You are a rock star. And we'll catch up with you towards the end and just get some COVID stuff. So yeah, lockdown stuff.
Yeah,
thanks, mate.
Let's do
appreciate
that.
it.
Thank you, folks.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.